Evening. My name is Andrew Solano, and we're going to be going over the international capstone diplomacy. Now, we'll start off the international experience, the main point of why we're here today. And the main point of why we're here today is what I learned, which is the educational engagement and new perspective on the world that I was able to obtain. And it's because of these two areas, one being the American Red Cross and AFJRTC, and two being French and peer tutoring. Now, let's start off with the American Red Cross and AFJRTC. The American Red Cross, I was able to be both a blood donor ambassador and engagement team leader. Now, what does that mean? I was first with a blood donor ambassador. I was able to participate at local blood drives, be able to encourage the local population to donate their blood, and as well give them the best experience while they're at these blood drives, and encourage them to donate again and come to another blood drive. And then I was also the engagement team leader, which enabled me to encourage other blood donor ambassadors to be able to participate at blood drives and helping support their local community to donate blood to the global cause here, which is ultimately the American Red Cross mission of preventing and relieving suffering here at home and around the world, which is ultimately the blood shortage around the world. Now it goes into AFJRTC. I was both the vice commander and inspector general for AFJRTC. And the main mission here is to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving their nation and community. But the main point here is AFJRTC really teaches the value of our nation in other countries. Particularly in one of the classes I learned of global perspectives, I was able to obtain instructor experience, based on their military background and experiences in global and different countries, learning how some of their toilet paper in other countries are made of wood chip. Their water is reused, and sometimes if you drink that water, you have to go to the doctor because there's organisms in it because they reuse it. And another thing where we learn about global conflict and the conflict in the Middle East, particularly where, for example, there's this one country that had a minority sect of the Islam religion, while the majority was the total opposite with, Sunni and Shia, just created this really global conflict and, I guess conflict as that nation. And ultimately, the main point here is I learned 160 service hours that gave me involvement within the community that ultimately led me to the global perspective here, the global engagement, which is ultimately the global mission here of learning and helping the world of not only supporting the blood shortage, but also learning about new perspective and new cultural values that affect our world, both in conflicts and the American involvement of their military bases, which leads me into French and peer tutoring. I was both in French, the class, and French club. French took, I went up all the way up to French 3, and I was able to learn the language and also learn some of the cultural values and some of the perspectives of Francophone countries. In French club, I was the secretary, and I was also able to learn some of those traditions and learn about those Francophone countries that were colonies of the French or France. And I was able to eat some of the food, which is absolutely delicious. And I was really able to learn about those different French traditions and culture values here. And then peer tutoring, I was able to teach people, and help people with their work if they're struggling in a class or a course. And I can give them a really peer tutoring and peer involvement. But particularly with this instance, I was able to help support ESOL students who are people from other countries or people who don't have English as their number one language, and help them learn their language and during their class period where they learn English and other curriculum. So I was really able to get that hands-on experience with both French and peer tutoring, helping students with learning English and learning and also getting that hands-on experience of learning their different values and experiences, of course, with French club and French itself as a course, which leads me into the conclusion, which is to become truly successful globally, we must take into account history, language, passions, compassion, and drama of foreign affairs. And of course, these things are the main points I want to point out to here throughout my PowerPoint is through these education, which led me to this new perspective of the world, which is being more engaged. And to be more engaged, this is the conclusion I came up with. And ultimately, I think it's the very strong point that really affects into global policy, even local policy. But I think here it really resolves into the diplomacy and the international conflicts that I've learned throughout these courses and throughout these extracurricular activities I was involved in. But thank you so much for